Good morning, my friends, and welcome to this special time as I remove my mask. I do want to welcome you to this Sunday morning experience at the Tri City Center for Spiritual Living, Tri City Religious Science Center, here in Fremont, Newark, Union City. 45 years we've been here. I was saying the other day that I received my practitioner license when I was 28 years old in 1968. My teacher was Dr. Reginald Armour, who helped Dr. Holmes start this wonderful teaching, and the father of my dear friend, and someone that everyone in New Thought should celebrate, the wonderful Dr. Marilyn Leo. We love her so much, and I am so proud of her to move forward with her dedication. She was part of the project that we did, The Science of Earnest Mind. I was honored to have the opportunity to play Dr. Ernest Holmes in the movie about his life. Wonderful Dr. Lloyd Tupper and Marilyn Leo and the dear Sue Ruda. God love her. What a dedicated bunch of people. And my demonstration, because it gave me the opportunity, I was thinking that in 1964, when a 24-year-old walked into Founders Church not knowing what this was, after spending 4 years on a submarine in the Navy, having departed from basic Christianity when I was about 15, when the church I was going to was sending everybody to hell if they didn't belong to our church. That included a whole lot of my friends, and I decided, well, that's the way it's going to be. First of all, it has to be a boring place to go, and number two, I would miss my friends. So I just decided there was a God who would do something like that. I didn't want any part of it, and move forward. Fortunately, in submarine service, I had a Jewish education officer who encouraged us to continue our education, and also I had the opportunity to visit the wonderful experience of Israel. I was part of the Lebanon experience. I had the opportunity to see the wonderful, incredible ruins of Baalbek, Lebanon, to meet those wonderful Lebanese people. God love them. A wonderful, wonderful place with a lot of confusion, doubt, and fear, and as a result, a disrupted place. And what we were experiencing at that time there, I was on a submarine, and we were confronting obstacles to the peace and to harmony in the Middle East at the time. I find myself having similar feelings with something that's going on now, with finally saying enough is enough. Dr. King said, focus on what you're for, not what you're against. He said, I have a dream, and I think maybe what we're experiencing right now is that dream coming true by means of us. For 45 years, I've been having my congregation affirm, all my dreams are waiting for me to come true. Say that in first person. All your dreams are waiting for you to come true. Put it in first person. All my dreams are waiting for me to come true. Questions are coming in, and I appreciate all of you. Let me know that you're here, that you're seeing this. And if you like what you see, send it to somebody. Let them know what we're doing. I would like to come out of this with more people being aware of what we're doing in the Tri-City area, in the Bay Area of California. We are celebrating our 45th year, and being probably one of the last people from that period of time, I was very fortunate to have the best teachers we've ever had as my teachers, plural. Dr. Craig Carter, Dr. William Hornaday, the wonderful Dr. Reginald Armour, Dr. Edith Clark, Dr. Dan Morgan. I marched down Olympic Boulevard in 1967 with Dr. Dan Morgan. And at the front of that march was Dr. Martin Luther King. Great, great teachers. One day I received in the mail an invitation from Dr. Fenwick Holmes, Ernest Holmes' brother, who invited me to study with him. 3 years. 3 years I got to ask the brother of our founder, who was also our founder, because Dr. Fenwick Holmes, actually, if you don't know, wrote a textbook before Ernest did. But that whole experience of understanding back then was a wonderful foundation for me. I was in my 20s at the time. Became a minister at age 35. I'm turning 80 this year. How does that grab you? Anyhow, who would have thought it? And I look around and realize there's not many of us who had the opportunity to see this the way Ernest wanted it taught. To honor the simplicity of it and the power of that simplicity. Dr. Holmes in 1947, when he agreed to let the IARSC, the International Association of Religious Science Churches, become organized, he did it, and the argument they used was, if you don't organize it, Ernest, it's going to turn into a bunch of dusty books on somebody's bookshelf. So he agreed to do it under these conditions: no dogmas, no creeds, no ceremonies. Good question. You should probably ask it every day. What is? The answer to that question, well, the great, the good, the wise of the age, both East and West, have taught very clearly it is the creation of infinite love. What its experiences everywhere at once is to discover its purpose. And what is its purpose? What is its form? What is its nature? This is what the study of New Thought is all about. It is finding the balance. We talked about this recently, where if you go back and look at the history of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, you will discover that he went to one extreme, almost in the material, and then he kind of reversed that and said we must get rid of all desire, and then he realized that wanting to get rid of a desire is a desire, and so he found a balance. Thus modern day, or the unfoldment of Buddhism the way he allowed it to unfold in his understanding. Because the study of Buddhism, Hinduism, Sikh, Jain, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they all have a mystical element, and it's all the same. The same that it is the realization that the universe is infinite life, life lived from love is a celebration, a solvable mystery. You see, love can understand itself. Life lived from love is a celebration. Why? Because it is a process of positive growth. Because once you free yourself into it, you realize the more I know, there's more to know. When any person, place, or thing refuses to grow, they begin to recede. You know this is true. They begin to decay. They begin to die. You see, this truth applies not only to the life experience, but also to business, to government, to the world itself. A positive self produces a positive self-image. It comes from that. It evolves into positive imagination. As it does that, it gives birth to new ideas, which brings healthy growth and change. I think we're watching the country and the world do that as we speak. Do something new. Why? Because there's principle and law that will back up your idea. Dr. Raymond Charles Barker used to remind us that our newest thought may not be our best one, but it's our newest one, so pay attention to it. And if it's not going to produce something healthy and happy, let it go. This is what Oliver Wendell Holmes was describing in his great poem, The Chambered Nautilus, when he wrote with such wisdom, build thee more stately mansions, O my soul, as the swift seasons roll. Build thee more stately mansions, O my soul, as the swift seasons roll. You see, the stately mansions are the higher levels of consciousness and awareness, and the swift seasons are the divine urge as intuition flowing through us ceaselessly as thought, as idea, as feeling. How many of you listening right now are ready to let the swift season flow? To let it roll on into greater experience. This is the creation of infinite love in action. Its purpose is to do what? Is to celebrate its own perfection and show it forth. My friends, today you can be perfectly happy or perfectly unhappy. Perfection doesn't care what you do with it. Emerson said, our religion is what we think about all day long. Dr. Ernest Holmes said, if we are what we think about all day long, maybe we need to think about what we think about. I have my people affirm quite often, think about it as we do it. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that becomes the thing. I'm not the thing, I'm not the thought, I'm the thinker. Now, the wonderful truth about perfection is it doesn't care what you do with it. Again, let's look at it. You can be perfectly happy or perfectly unhappy. Perfectly sick or perfectly well, perfectly abundant or perfectly broke, perfectly bored or perfectly entertained. How many have taken this time of lockup just to become still? Now, what is its form? Its form is our body. Its form is our world event. Its form is universal. To let go and let good happen is our way if we let go and let ourselves meet the challenge of that way. It is our way by right of consciousness. To let go and let good happen is a wonderful thing to do. And if you make it a habit, it just keeps getting better and better and better each day. It is our way by right of consciousness. To let go and let good happen is a wonderful thing to do. And if you make it a habit, it just keeps getting better and better and better each day, and every way it gets better and better. This was Kuei's idea. Use those words to describe what is happening, not what you're trying to make happen. How do we get ourselves out of the way and do this? It's a good question. How do we get ourselves out of the way to do this? To move forward as this idea. The first thing we have to do is let go and let love be the advancing front edge. By understanding, we are an unlimited expression of what? Of life and action. There's no limit to what we are. We have the ability, the power, the beauty within us to heal anything in our life that needs to be changed for the better. Anything. It is written that Jesus said, I go before you to prepare a place for you. Now, think about this idea as a state of being. I go before you to prepare a place for you. A state of being, a state of consciousness. Every thought we embody goes before us and prepares a place for us, and count on it, we are going to move into it and live in it. This is why we need to be responsible for what we accepting as ourself and our event. Dr. Robert Bitzer built his entire ministry on never say I am and put something negative after it, because if you do that, you're taking the name of the Lord thy God in vain. I always goes before you. It isn't Jesus doing it. It's the principle he understood and was explaining. The I of you goes before you, prepares a place, and you move into it. Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, the science of mind, said, inspiration without application is hallucination. Inspiration without application is hallucination. Dr. Ernest Holmes. My friends, thank you for sharing this time with me. Let us each do something wonderful with our inspiration this morning, if this has been inspiring to you. And do what? Build more stately mansions. Build more stately mansions. Let it be your way. I love you, and I thank you for being with me for this special time. Namaste. And now, my friends, it is time to pass the metaphysical basket. Since I don't have the congregation in front of me, we can pass the physical basket, which every church needs to do. We are passing the metaphysical basket, and we thank you and bless you for your support. Somebody emailed me and said, "What's the address? We want to send you something." And I just so appreciate hearing from my dear friends in Canada and Europe, Denmark, South Africa, Nepal, Thailand, all over the United States, all over California. You are all loved. And it's very interesting in my lifetime to have an experience we're all moving through together. Let's know change for the better is underway. Again, I thank you. My dear Katrina will put information on the screen to let you know how to contact us. Our website, www.tricityrsc.org. tricityrsc.org. And you will find a PayPal there. Thank you, love you all. And now let's have a closing treatment. As we go within in this moment, we recognize there's one life, it's God, it's our life. It's the life of everyone involved in the protests on the streets. It's the awakening to standing for what we are for. Harmony, positive, right actions. The complete fulfillment of the civil rights movement. We know in our heart it's time for Dr. King's dream to come true. Fully. We honor that it has come true in the heart and mind of so many. And now we move forward and know that God in the new generation is learning from any negative experience so that the cause of it is released and new causes in motion for new leadership in our future. We bless this teaching called New Thought and everyone involved in it. We bless the courage of New Thought teachers and ministers in unity, divine science, religious science, CSL. The courage to stand up and say, wait a minute, world, there is another way to think. There's another way to expect, there's another way to give, there's another way to receive. That way is now revealed, embodied, and lived as never before. It doesn't matter what we call it, it's principle. It's the principle of all great clear thinking. So we honor this principle with no name and know that this power that is directed by everyone in their individual life as not joining with itself, has a greater good for the world, right here, right now. Consciously united with infinite spirit, I now speak my word in first person and know with me. I accept greater good as supreme in my life. The positive as my choice and the absolute as my experience. I become radiant, wonderful. It sings my life and heart. It lights up my world with love. And I let it be my way. And give thanks that it's so. Because I have known and know now that my words in this treatment are describing what is true. Not making something happen, but describing what is already so in consciousness and already true. Thank God for infinite knowing. And I give thanks that I know it. And I let it be my way. And so it is, was, and shall be in the now of forever. Of forever. And that's the way it is. So it is. Love you guys. Wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe. Soon we'll be back together again. And we will know the meaning of Let There Be Peace on Earth. Joe Jackson's wonderful song. We'll know it as never before. And now's the time. Have a good one. See you Wednesday.